welcome to Business Connections, presented by the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm Holly Allen. Well, we like to tackle hot topics in the business world on this show, and today there is no bigger hot topic in the business world than workforce. That's what we're talking about. Whether it's business retention, attraction, or practicing, hiring practices, there is no bigger topic for our businesses. The fact is, the biggest investment for our businesses in the area is their people. That's why it's such a big topic. And a lot of times when businesses run into a pain point, they look for their own creative ways to solve the problem. That's what we're talking about today, and I'm welcoming two of our area businesses that have done just that. So I'd like to welcome Tim Hull. He is with Think Patented, and Margaret Soda with PSA Airlines. Thank you both for being with me today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
Well, I first want to discuss kind of what your businesses do before we get into what you're doing to solve your workforce issues. So I'll start with you, Tim. Tell us where Think Patented is located and what do you do?
Sure, we're in Miamisburg,
Okay.
in the building that we built a few years ago that's purpose-built for our organization. We started out as a printing company. We've expanded since then. We now have fulfillment and direct mail. And of course, promotional items as well, wide format, web development, and graphic design, all under one roof.
All under one roof. You've evolved.
And we have indeed. And as you can imagine, we have needed employees. We're now up to about 120.
Okay.
And we need more.
We need more. I think that's what all of our employers say. Margaret, tell us about PSA Airlines. What do you do?
So we're a regional airline. We're actually a wholly owned subsidiary of American Airlines. We fly about 800 departures a day. We're headquartered here in Dayton, out by the airport, actually on the airport grounds, where we have one of our largest hangars in operation for PSA. So we have about 1,000 employees locally here in Dayton.
We are excited, happy to have both of you here. And I think it gives us a good idea that it doesn't matter the size of the company or the industry you're in.
Correct.
Workforce is something that affects all of our businesses.
Absolutely true.
So just a little bit of background information. In our Chamber's last edition of Economic Indicators, that's some research we provide our members. This last edition was in January of 2019. It showed that Dayton's unemployment rate was 4.3%. And that sounds like great news. Everyone hears that and they get excited about it. The flip side of that for employers is that it makes it even harder to fill those open positions. So I want to talk to you, Tim, first. As a small business, as you said, based in Miamisburg, you have seen tremendous growth over the years. You said you're in a new building, and you have expanded your services. What has it been like trying to fill open positions at Think Patented?
It's been very difficult. Our industry in general during the recession has cut back significantly, and the number of printing operations that went out of business is significant. So people that were trained and talented left and went into other industries. Was not a lot of recommendation from parents to enter into this industry for young people because of the decline that they were seeing. Well, it's come back. Those that survived are now bigger and stronger than ever, and they're doing very well. So it makes it difficult now because we have that gap in experienced people who have gone elsewhere and new young people who have not filled in the gap.
So when the industry went through its transition, are you saying that the people who worked in the industry, they didn't stick around to see the changes? They went on and found other careers?
They needed jobs, and there were no longer a lot of printing jobs available, and they left and went to other industries. So then when the industry came back around, you have to make a decision: do I want to go back or do I want to stay where I am? And so that added to the issue of finding good people. So you had to be creative and come up with some different ideas.
Yeah, we will get to that in just a minute, how you did that. But I want to talk to you, Margaret, about PSA Airlines. I mean, I think you're all looking for specific specialties in the skills, but I've got to imagine that in the airline industry, you're looking for really specific, talented skills.
We are, especially here in Dayton. So when we look at PSA maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we were not a growing company. So we've more than doubled in our employee size. And for Dayton, our investment has really been in our maintenance operation. So when we grow our technician group or have increased our hangar, which had happened, I think that had opened in the fall of 2016. It's been real hard for us to really gain the skills we need, especially in the local Dayton market for certified technicians.
So when you talk about maintenance, what sorts of things are they doing? Kind of what's their day-to-day?
Right. So primarily the makeup of the operation is our technicians, which are on the floor. So usually we have a large overnight operation, so here in Dayton, which means our technicians are fixing aircraft. They're doing routine maintenance on the aircraft, but we have more than that. We have technical positions. We have maintenance control centers. All of those require licensing all the way up through our supervisors and our leadership team.
Gotcha.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm sure you have gone down traditional routes to try to find employees. You're saying yes.
Yes.
Jim. Was that successful? You just needed to boost it?
Yeah, we
or-
needed to boost it. Yeah,
Okay.
we started with our own apprenticeship program that we
Okay.
have, which is still very active, and so a number of our people come through there so that they get trained and then move into the workforce from there. We had our own internship programs, and we still operate those very heavily. But we got involved more in the trade associations, so the Printing Industries of America. One of our owners, in fact, is on the board of their scholarship program, the foundation. So we got active in that and used that to generate some additional attention. But we needed even more than that. We needed to be more proactive. And so we established partnerships. One of the partnerships is with the local college university and utilized their programs and helped them develop programs that met the needs that we had so that the students that went through the program were prepared to accept the jobs we had available and others in our industry. And it's turned out to be very, very successful, and we're very happy about that partnership, and it complements what we're doing in the other areas.
So you look at it as it's not one or the other. It's using traditional
Correct.
routes along with sort of an innovative approach.
Absolutely. We need all of the above. So
Okay.
whichever way attracts people and brings them in, we're happy about that.
You're not going to turn anyone away.
No. So, and they're prepared the way that we need them prepared.
What sort of skill sets are you working on through this partnership program?
With the partnership program, we're working mostly in the area of new media. So web development and broadcast, social media, that's what the curriculum has been developed around. And the unique part about the program is that there is an advisory board of leaders in the industry, and we meet on a quarterly basis to advise Clark State on how they go about developing the curriculum and preparing students. As like last year, for example, they had a 100% employment rate prior
Wow.
to graduation. So when the industry offers them advice about what we need and they prepare the students accordingly, then they walk out and they're viable candidates for a lot of different businesses in the area.
Yeah,
So,
that works very well.
and it was very important that was a key part. I always use the example, especially in the new media, the illustration, the animation work that we do. I get tired of interviewing people and looking at dinosaur after dinosaur and dragon and so forth. I don't have much
Not a
call
lot of
for that.
dinosaurs, I think that day. No?
The businesses, our clients, we're not that interested in that. So it's nice to prepare some students that are talented in those areas and have the skills, but they're able to apply it to the business world and utilize it in helping them do presentations and promotions
Right.
and bring the brand to life for the clients that we serve.
So how did you choose Clark State as the right partner for the skills you needed?
You have to find the group that's willing to work with you, and you need a champion. And there was a champion up there that was Scott Dawson was heading up some of the graphics programs, and he was interested in starting this up, and he assembled a team of business leaders in the field and he helped put all of this together and push it through the college so that we could have this program, and it's a 2-year degree program. And he's just pushed further, and they're about to offer a 4-year degree program.
Wow.
And that's going to be in the web design and development, full stack developers. So it's going to expand. It'll be offered here in the next year or so. So
Nice.
you have to find that champion that's willing to work with you and sees the need and that is able to be that liaison between the business and the college.
Right. So it's a win-win situation.
It is,
Yeah.
yes.
Margaret, I'm going to ask you because PSA Airlines did something similar. Can you tell me about how you started out? What was it like using traditional routes? And when did the company decide that you needed to step outside of the traditional lanes and do something a little more innovative?
Right. So much like Tim, you start your traditional, you're going to go out recruit, you're going to advertise, you go to the schools, you try to get your share of mechanics coming out of school. And we kind of did that nationally. And what we were recognizing is where were we having the most success with our current mechanics and folks who were moving into leadership roles at PSA. So we informally started some relationships with like Miami Valley Technical College. Just we had leaders who went to school there. They stayed connected. They spent time in the classroom. So it was kind of this natural, hey, maybe we need to focus a little more on Dayton itself. If we have a commitment to having our hangar here and having this growth, we really need to have this pipeline program. And one of the things we recognized is many students, they'll enroll in an aviation technician program and they'll go through the program, but they won't go and get their license. So, well, you mentioned the low unemployment rates, and anybody with some technical aptitude had plenty of job offers without doing it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so as part of their program through school, they didn't automatically earn it. You still have to go take the test, which also costs, roughly another $2,000, which at that point, many students, didn't have that investment there. So in working with the schools and really recognizing this, the program we just recently launched in February allowed us to partner with some local schools where we can interact with the students a little earlier, engage them in employment opportunities, and pay for their testing. So we've created this opportunity where we can get a little more engaged from a mentoring perspective, help them stay connected to the aviation industry. If they went in to be an aviation technician, to not leave that and to keep that excitement about it. And we've hosted some kind of what we call career takeoff sessions where we've had the college students come out to our hangar facility, meet with our leadership teams. They've had demonstrations. We even had a few moms come along. Our leadership
The
team
moms
spoke
want
with
to
them.
see where they're working.
And they got to meet our executive leadership team as well at those events and just see that connection of what does a hangar look and feel like? What do tour an airplane, see it from kind of the nuts and bolts side. So staying connected, offering that, and being in the classrooms has been very important. So offering things like our tools or toolboxes to stay connected is kind of the new avenue we're headed down. So
That's cool.
How did those relationships form? Because you have relationships with several schools in town, is that right?
Yes. So we also have Sinclair is another one local to Dayton where we have that partnership. So like I said, most of it really comes from, we have employees from those schools and they help champion that and bring us back to their schools. And you have that advocate, you have that initial relationship. And we did recognize that when you want to seek employment, it's hard to relocate someone for positions like that. Just in general, they want to stay with their families. And so being able to invest in Dayton has been a focus to say, and we use this as really a pilot. We focused here because we have a large operation here for maintenance, but we are focused in trying to look at the other hangars we have across the U.S. And 2 other facilities in Ohio to be able to replicate the same program.
Interesting. So you're learning as you go,
Yes.
kind of taking away best practices. So I want to talk about kind of the big picture and maybe get some advice from the two of you because you've gone through this. We've seen many of our chamber member businesses approach this in several different ways.
Right.
And we did a story in Focus Magazine, which is a quarterly magazine the chamber puts together, on Dayton Freight, one of your fellow chamber members, because they found that they were having a hard time recruiting drivers. We all have heard nationally
Yes.
there's a shortage of drivers. So what they realized was they were getting young people in to work at Dayton Freight, but they weren't old enough yet to get their CDL license. So they created a pipeline where they would hire young people who weren't quite old enough to get that license and become a driver. They were very vocal that they had a plan to move them into a driving position. They would start them out on the dock or in the warehouse, and along the way groom them and train them until they were old enough to get the CDL license, and then they would move them into a driving position. And it was really, I mean, it could be as simple as being vocal about the fact that you have plans for that employee to move into a different position as they mature and learn along the way. So I say that just as an example, as an innovative program to help relieve the pain points of your workforce issues can be as complex or as simple as you make it be. And Tim, you represent a small to mid-sized business. Margaret, you're from a larger business, so you can approach it on a larger scale. But what would your advice be to some of our small businesses that are really feeling the pinch of being unable to find employees who have the skills they need? Where do they start? Do you have advice for them?
Yes. Would you like to start?
I certainly can. I don't think it's ever too early to start. So if you think about your engagement in things like career days at schools and middle schools, and we've always participated in things like that, engaging at the high school level to help them understand what different careers look like. But staying focused and connected with college counselors too. So if you have kind of an entry-level position or an entry-level degreed position, staying connected with just the college career counselors, things like that, that can help advocate and share that information. We try to spend a lot of time in the classrooms too, or have at least a partnership where we can come and talk to students over a lunch period or something like that, just to help them understand who we are, what the culture is, what we offer as a company and a team, not just what the job opportunity is.
Right, as you pointed out, because it's important, for example, the mom to see
Yes.
who's courting their child. You're being smart about that, creating those relationships. Tim, do you have advice to give?
Yes, it depends upon the industry that you're in. In our industry, we have to do an education not only of the student but of the parents as well. Very much, we're very similar to the manufacturing operation. Manufacturing has changed over the years, and the impression that a lot of parents have is not what you see when you go into manufacturing plants. It's the same way with our printing and graphics industry. We're a very high-tech organization. It's very clean. And
it is. I've seen your facility. You can eat off the floors.
It's true. But the technology is what drives everything. So automated processes, and it surprises people when they come in, and you take them on the tour and show them what you're doing. As I'm sure you find in the maintenance area and stuff, it's a lot more than just turning a wrench anymore, or picking things up, moving them from here to there. We have robots that do all that. So everything's technology driven. So a lot of it is education to show people that things have changed.
That's interesting. You're fighting misconceptions.
Yes.
Tim, how long has the partnership with Clark State been going on?
It's been on about 4 years that we've been working with them, and partially in developing, and then once they offered the program, we've been doing internships with them and participating on their advisory council since then. So, in fact, the majority of my area, which is the technology area and the creative area, it consists of pretty much about 90% of interns that have been hired and that we've now employ full time. And I think you're talking about some keys with people that are interested in bringing people in and keeping them. With our internship program, you start actually doing work of value on day 2. Okay, so which is very important and stuff. They're not used to make copies. They're not used to run out and find the prop we need or something. They are doing for pay work, and so we only bring in experienced people that are knowledgeable, that have done well in their classes, so that they're able to contribute from day one.
Right.
And that really makes them feel important, makes them feel welcome, and makes them picture themselves what it's going to be like in a few years when they're now, the heads of those areas.
Right. Well, that makes sense. You vet them before they come in, but that takes time.
It does.
To it takes your own time and resources when you're busy doing what you have to do.
Correct.
To prepare work and
Yes.
train the intern on the job.
It does. It does take work, but it's well worth it. We found that the effort that we put in is more than rewarded with the quality of people that we bring in. We already know their attitudes, their work ethic, their skill sets, and they can move right in and they participate and contribute very, very quickly.
Okay.
And they grow very quickly. We find that the students that we're able to attract are hungry, and they're looking to learn more and know more, and they will jump on new software programs and new techniques and so forth. They will talk, to the senior people around them and get tips and tricks, and so it really, they grow quickly.
Yeah.
And because I agree with you, to start with the high school era, and to get in there and impress them with what we have to offer. Then they go through the training program. We offer internships during the training program, and then to move into the work area. They get to capture, while they're still in school, the fact that we're looking for speed, we're looking for quality, and the ability to work with clients, and they learn that quickly. I'm sure you find the same things.
Well, they do, and we've had our formal program just since February with the schools, and it's a little more difficult. We can give students a feel for a hangar or an aircraft, but they can't do the work, with the regulations and the licensing. So we've made a larger investment in the number of trainers we have. So recognizing we're growing and we're bringing in a lot of new employees, and a lot of those employees are coming to us directly from school. So the investment in our training technology, the smart boards, the kind of hands-on opportunities, and ideally being able to share some of that opportunity with our students and the folks that are in kind of our programs as well is important. But really it's the mentorship on the floor and the boots on the ground. You mentioned them being able to talk to a more senior person. So having someone who's aligned with them when they come here to kind of learn all those hands-on skills. It takes a long time. You get your license and you come into a hangar, and it's probably 2 years before you really feel like, I got this.
Yeah. So it's a long-term investment on your part.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And so we do focus, you had mentioned earlier, the idea of sharing what a career path looks like. So, we have a technician, but we have opportunities for people to become inspectors. They become leads. They can move into, it's control operation. They could move into leadership roles. So we help paint that picture too. What does a career look like when you choose to become a technician?
Well, I'm sure that helps.
It does.
If they are looking for a long-term plan, where can I go with this career before they make that investment? So I love, these are great tips for all of our members, and I think they can learn from the investments you've both made, that we've realized that in order to relieve our workforce issues, it's going to take some investment, both in time, but also in resources. So I appreciate you sharing your stories today. Thank you so much for being with me, and
thank you.
Best of luck to you. We'll have to check back in with you,
That's
Margaret, once PSA has a little bit of time under its belt.
Absolutely.
To see how this is going.
Yeah.
I do want to, before we go, I wanted to share a little bit of information about workforce pathways. It's something Margaret just mentioned, because at the Chamber, we understand that not all businesses have the resources or means to do something similar to what Think Patented PSA Airlines have done. So we have a few resources in our region that are focused on attracting and retaining skilled workers. We are working to align the skills, the needs of our business community with our educators. That's a role that the Chamber of Commerce can play. We host DaytonWorkforce.com, and that's where we highlight the top 10 growing industries in the Dayton region. Specifically for our region, we detail positions that are available within those industries, average salary information, job requirements, and so on. And we also have an educational resource list on that website that will tell you what educational institutions provide training for those industries. It's very useful for our educators, but also anyone who's looking for what careers might be available in the Dayton region that have the potential to grow into the future. In Montgomery County, businesses also have access to the Business Solutions Center, and that can help you with training programs if you're an employer looking to start a training program. You also have access to something called YouthWorks through Montgomery County, which can provide and pay for interns, which Tim talked about as important to think Patented's plan to relieve workforce issues. There are many other resources available to you throughout the Dayton region. If you are a chamber member, all you have to do is reach out to us, reach out to our staff, and we can connect you with the right services based on your needs. It's a lot of information. Thank you for being with me today. Be sure to follow the Chamber on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Also LinkedIn. We have more information there. And go to DaytonChamber.org to find ways to contact us. In the meantime, stay tuned for a quick message from our President and CEO, Phil Parker.
One of the biggest challenges we still face in the Dayton region, like in a number of other communities, is the need for more employees with the right skill sets. Recruiting new employees and properly training them is a very expensive and time-consuming process. To continue to replace employees can really put companies at a strategic disadvantage and will cost them critical productivity. But employers must still fill those open position needs at their earliest opportunity. Some companies see turnover that ranges from 10% to 40% each year. Those that might be above that have even more serious challenges. But there are some companies that are using some creative methods to recruit and retain workers that may not have been commonplace a few short years ago. Today's program highlights several companies who are using techniques beyond simple salary offers. Some are now adding additional benefit packages, signing bonuses, career advancement and training, paid tuition for higher education requirements, and much more. These expenses may be passed on to consumer costs, but a company which is experiencing solid new growth in this improved economy understands it must invest in its greatest asset, its people. We hope you've enjoyed today's program as we interviewed several of our local companies who shared some of their ideas on how to better recruit and retain employees in a very competitive marketplace.